Modern Warfare 4 just dropped their trailer, Price vs. Ghost. And I'm going to say something right now that half of you are going to hate this, but one of them has to die in this game. Not, oh, we thought he was dead, but actually he survived. Actually permanently die. And if Activision doesn't have the guts to do that, this game will be forgotten in 6 months like every other COD campaign from the last 10 years. And I know what you're thinking. Bro, relax, it's just a trailer. But hear me out, because this is not just about MW4. This is about something that's been broken in this franchise for a long time now. See, every single COD campaign for the last however many years has been running the exact same formula. Bad things happen somewhere in the world. Task Force 141 assembles, and look, I love these guys, but at this point they are literally the Avengers in military suits or Ninja Turtle costumes anyway. They assemble, they chase a villain, and then there's a missile. There is always a missile, every single game. Who is this guy? Like genuinely, who is the man supplying every COD villain with military-grade missiles for 20 years straight? Task Force 141 has stopped World War III 4 times, but the missile is just out there somewhere every time. And that's the problem right there. World War III 4 times. And every single time, every single game, everyone comes home safe except Soap. Poor man died 2 times. But Price shows up with his beret ready for one more ride, one more mission, one more missile. He is literally Vin Diesel of Fast and Furious at this point. And because everyone always comes home, because nothing permanent ever happens, you stop caring. The stakes feel fake. Deep down you know nobody who actually matters is going anywhere. And then there's Makarov. Vladimir Makarov. In the original trilogy, Price finally got him. Strangled him to death personally on a hotel rooftop in MW3. Hands around his throat, personal, brutal, done. And you know what Activision did? Rebooted the series and brought him back. Reboot MW3 ends, and Makarov just walks away alive. After killing Soap again, by the way. This man killed Soap twice in 2 different timelines. That's not a villain, that's a personal obsession. And now he's confirmed coming back in MW4. Vladimir Makarov has defeated death itself. He's not a villain anymore. He is the Thanos of Call of Duty, except Thanos actually stayed dead. And this is exactly why someone has to die in MW4. Because right now, nothing in this franchise has any weight. You're never actually worried about any character because you know everyone is showing up for the next game. And when stakes are fake, when you know deep down nothing permanent can happen, you don't feel anything. And a story that makes you feel nothing is a story you forget. But COD was not always like this. And this is the part people forget when they talk about why the old games were so legendary. All Ghillied Up, MW1, one mission, barely any shooting, just crawling through grass in complete silence. 15 years later, people still call it one of the greatest missions in gaming history. Not because of explosions, because of tension, because it made you feel genuinely small and vulnerable and exposed. And that feeling, you cannot manufacture that with a bigger missile or a better graphics engine. You earn it through storytelling, through making the player actually feel like something real could go wrong. And then the mission loose ends. MW2, General Shepard shooting Ghost and burning him in a ditch. No warning, no dramatic goodbye, no slow motion final words, just gone. And that moment, that one scene, became one of the most iconic moments in gaming history. Not because it was cool, because it was permanent. Because Ghost was genuinely beloved and they killed him anyway, without warning, without mercy. And that gap between how much you cared about that character and how quickly and carelessly he was taken, that's what hit so hard. That's what you remember 15 years later. Not the missile, not the final boss, Ghost burning in a ditch. See, that's the whole point running through everything I just said. The moments that define this franchise, the moments people still feel, still reference, still talk about, are never the safe moments. They're always the moments where something permanent happened, where the story had enough courage to actually hurt you. All Ghillied Up worked because something real felt at stake. Ghost's death worked because something permanent actually happened. And because of that, because of those brave choices, people are still buying Ghost skins, still talking about MW2, still feeling something when they hear that name. Permanent consequences don't kill franchises, they create legacies. And now MW4 has the exact same ingredients sitting right in front of them. Price and Ghost in genuine conflict. Two of the most beloved characters in this entire franchise on opposite sides of a war. The perfect setup for a moment that could define this franchise for the next 15 years, the same way Ghost Death defined the last 15. But here's what Activision will probably do. 3 missions of tension, dramatic confrontations, emotional music, then one big scene where they look at each other and have a conversation about loyalty and what it means to be a soldier. They realize they're fighting for the same thing. They team up. They stop the missile. Of course there's a missile. Credits roll. Everyone goes home safe. See you in MW5. Safe, clean, forgettable. Another campaign that disappears 6 months after launch. Unless, and this is everything, one of them doesn't make it out. Really doesn't make it out. Permanently. No reboot, no DLC, no post-credits hint. Gone. Think about what that does. Half the community was devastated. Half feeling like they just witnessed something historic in gaming. Both groups talked about it for years. Every channel, every forum, every group chat. The conversation never stops. And every mission leading up to that moment suddenly feels real. Because the stakes aren't fake anymore. Because you're playing knowing that something permanent could actually happen. That's the tension that made all Ghillied Up legendary. That's the weight that made Ghost Death iconic. And that's exactly what MW4 could have if Activision actually has the courage to follow through. The question is who? Who should be the one to go and why? And honestly, the answer is more interesting than you think. That's the next video.